Hello everyone. Okay, right. I'd like to thank Pamela first for having me on. So here we go, and I'll just wait for some people to join us. Just going to be going into trance this morning, showing you what trance is about. So anyone that is interested in listening to this, hi Sarah, nice to see you. Hi Julie, thanks for coming on. Hope you're all keeping well. Hello Vicky and Fiona. Hi Sarah. Hi Pamela. Oh, that's all right. Thanks for having me. I won't know what the time is, so I may go a bit over. Hopefully not. We'll see what happens, because I don't want to disrupt anyone else's time that they've got on here this morning. So yes, we've got a few on, so I'll start explaining to you what trance is about. And where trance is concerned, it is about surrendering and meditation, dedication and trust, where your guide and spirit are concerned. And going into that state is sort of letting go in a relaxed state of mind, a little bit like self-hypnosis. And sometimes the guide will be able to speak straight away, and sometimes it'll take longer. I've known mediums to take up to 3 years for the guide to speak, or they may just want to sit silent and be present for a while before they start to speak, getting used to our earthly energy, which is much heavier for them because their vibrations are much faster than ours, because they have no physical body like we do. So you see, that's one of the reasons why they have to take time in learning how to manipulate our energy, because it's far more physical attached to our energy than what they are. So that's one of the explanations about going into trance. Okay, I haven't had any more yet, but I'm sure when I'll share this video with Pamela's permission, of course, and maybe it'll invite more people to her group to be able to show what they do. Everyone works differently, as you know, and everyone works differently in trance. I've seen trance with others before, and it's such an amazing thing to watch their guides and how they change their faces with transfiguration, and how they speak about heaven and everything else. So it's quite amazing the way that they do it, really. So I'm going to be putting music on, as I always do, because some of you prefer to go into trance with music, some of you like silence, or some of you may like nature sounds. It all is different with each and every one of us, isn't it? So I don't know if there's anyone else going to join, but it doesn't matter if they don't, because whoever's here, then of course, silly me, forgot to tell anyone that I was coming on this morning, so memory like a sieve. So here we go with the trance, okay? And if anyone is wanting to ask questions now, then go ahead before I go into the trance, because obviously I haven't got anyone to ask anything once I'm in the trance. I'm not able to see what's on this screen. So I know you're all watching. I know that you have had chances to ask questions before when I'm not in the trance state. So if you just want to watch and see what happens, I go in to the trance state as an experiment. It's all an experiment here, because we cannot control what the guides want to do with us. They will give us what we need and not what we ask for, what we demand. So I go in and I just trust and leave Jonathan to get on with it and try not to interfere, because obviously we are part of the trance. We can't be blocked out because it's us they're using. It's our physical body that they're speaking through, and it's our energy that they're manipulating. So part of us has got to be involved in it. And I have a lot of people saying, well, I always feel like it's me, Elaine. Or they asked Jonathan that. And that's what he tells them, that you've got to be part of it because it's you we're using. So part of your wording will be used because they're impressing their consciousness onto your consciousness. So that means that part of your essence, your personality, will be in with the trance. So it doesn't mean to say that you're making it all up. It doesn't mean to say that. What it means to say is that you have to be part of it because you're human and they're a spirit and they haven't got a physical voice. So they have to use our voices. And when you go into trance, they're using you. Okay, so hopefully you'll have something nice to speak about. I'm sure you will. Well, there's going to be some music first. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I am Jonathan, the spirit guide of Elaine, for those of you who have not experienced this before. I have been working with her for many years and will continue to do so because that is her soul's plan. So I come to you today and I see that Elaine has been explaining to you about trance mediumship. And for those of you that feel that spirit are coming close to you and wanting to communicate through you, then you are capable of that. So do not be afraid of it. Embrace it. But of course, pray and protect. And ask for the highest good. So when you are working with our light, we come to you and we learn to blend with your energy. And when those two energies come together as one, then the trance mediumship can take place. Of course, that takes time with some, and sometimes it will happen a little quicker with others. It all depends on the advancement of it and how soon the soul has chosen to awaken, to realize the connection with our world. So as you go on in time with this trance development, you will find that you will draw even closer to us, and that the connection will become very much defined. So it is counting on your trust in us and in yourself, because it is only the human logic state of mind, the ego state of mind, that will hold back on it. Because what it doesn't see, it doesn't trust, it will question it, and it will become inquisitive about it. The human ego mind will want evidence. But I always say, you can know that the wind is there, yet it is invisible, but you can feel it. So try not to question what you feel, because if you can't see the wind, and you can't see us, yet you can feel the wind, and you can feel us, there are no comparisons, because the two are much of similarity. Only the wind is an earthly presence, and we are a spiritual presence. So your guides love you fondly, unconditionally. And I'm going to explain to you this morning of your earthly time. Time has no place in our existence. We are in eternity because we are eternal. All souls are eternal, infinite, and multifaceted. They are also multidimensional, which is a similarity of explanation to multifaceted. Means that it can be mirrored in many ways. You here on earth would expect to hear a name from a soul, so we give you an identification from our most previous incarnation that we could remember and recognize. You require that for a recognition of identification. So your guide will bring you their previous existence and previous existence or physical to look at. But when we return to spirit, we are light. We can also bilocate. So in the way of bilocation, your physical mind can take on many thoughts. It is your consciousness. And it can think many things at once. So when you pass to the spirit world and you cast off your physical, you become just that consciousness in light. And if a consciousness can think many thoughts upon the earth, then it can be a thought in spirit So therefore, it can bilocate and be in many different places as a consciousness of thought. So in a way of explaining things in greater simplicity, if you were wanting to be in a particular place in your mind, perhaps you were going to go on a walk in nature in your mind, perhaps during meditative states. And then we would do the same, we would be there. So we become part of the thought. We are the thought. So we can be wherever we want to be, and it is of lucidity, but not needing of a physicality. It is ethereal. So our thoughts are ethereal in the way of looking at it as a reality. You would feel it as a lucidity or see it as a lucidity, but we would see it as ethereal because we are ethereal. You also have an ethereal body that is within you. That is your soul. And during dream state, it is able to astral travel. It has a silver cord that is attached to the umbilical area, and of course the umbilical of the soul. And that remains attached until physical death. So if you are going to get out of your body and go to many places in your dream state and see it of and feel it of lucidity, then you would be able to do that because you become ethereal in the astral. So your physical body is left in sleep state, still functioning. The brain will never shut off until physical death. And then it will again become consciousness. So consciousness is immortal. Sometimes in your dream state, if you're not going to go so much of astral traveling, you will have many mixed up thoughts during your day that will create a rather confused dream state. It will show you one particular dream with many different thoughts that are blended into it, so it becomes rather confusing to explain. So many of you wake up in the morning and say, well, I had a very confusing dream, and it's all muddled up. Well, it is all of your subconscious thoughts that are played out into a dream state. And sometimes you will have a dream that is a nightmare, which is particularly unpleasant, but it is you, your subconscious, showing you how to face your fears in life. And they may look very demonstrative. So instead of you facing it in your daytime, you will face it during the night in your dream state. It is letting you know symbolically how to face your biggest fears in life. And they do look frightening, yes. But they are not so frightening, really, if you face them, embrace them, and don't fear change, or don't fear others' judgments, then you will live your life to the fullest. So do take note of your dreams, because they are mostly symbolic, unless you are going to go on your astral travel. And sometimes, during astral travel, we will meet you halfway. We will come down into the astral, and we will join you, feeling like much of a lucidity, as if we are physical again. But we are actually ethereal, and you are ethereal, so it feels like a physical sensation of lucidity. So coming back to your earth, if you wanted a particular spiritual experience, or a feeling of stillness, so to speak, sometimes your higher self will let you know about how it feels to be in the present moment. If you still your mind and sit with everything around you that is present in the room with you, and this I have explained before, that you will feel a total peace. No matter of the things that are around you, somebody has created those things, and they are sitting in front of you. And if you study them, you would say, well, they mean nothing to me. Perhaps they don't, but they mean something to the person that has previously thought about them and created them. So it would be a thought before it came into the lucidity of the physical world. So really everything has a meaning, although you cannot take it with you when you pass. All of it serves a purpose, if you look at it. You would say, well, computers carry perhaps no purpose for us, but they are serving a purpose at this particular moment. They are getting all of the spiritual messages across to your physical world through your mediums and all sorts of ways of presenting it. Through everything and anything. This was deliberately created. But negative was always going to get in the way of it. But it still serves a purpose for the greater good, even if negative has an interference within it. Through negative, most of the time comes positive. So everything has to have a balance of negative and positive, doesn't it? Yin and yang, black and white, everything of that nature. A perfectly logical explanation that sometimes goes a bit beyond the logical. So when you're sitting in front of anything in life, do not see it as a waste or of uselessness. See it as serving a purpose, even if it only serves a purpose for a short period of time. It has done something of greater good, hasn't it? If it no longer serves you a purpose, it will serve another a purpose. Until it becomes something of a burden to them, they will give it away perhaps, or sell it. It will serve a person, another purpose. And it goes on and on. It almost becomes eternal until it breaks away and has no longer use. So you have learned something from it. You have enjoyed it. It has been present in your life. So if you look at the people around you as well, they are also present. Everything on your earth, below, in between, and above, has presence. You have presence. The more that you get into it, the more that you will become intrigued and fascinated by it. Everything that was not once there is there. It is present. It is present in the physical. It is present in the ethereal. We are present with you now. So when you get a chance of your busy daily lives, when you are totally ignoring everything and just taking everything for granted, look at what is around you. For instance, if you're sitting at a table, see what is on it. See what is around it. See what is above it. See what is below it. See what is between it. Look at it from every angle. If you didn't want to be in stillness or presence with that, you may go outside and you're sitting present out there. And you go out and listen to the birds chirping, to the bees buzzing, to the gentle breeze, to the forestry, the flowers, the water, the sky, the earth. Totally and utterly beautiful. A creation beyond creation. Or you could go out into the night sky. Look at the stars. That's not just it. I bet you wish you could see beyond that. But your technology allows you to see more than what you would normally. It is absolutely wonderful. But you see it as a disturbance. But man has always been curious about the universe, because they are actually part of it. They are floating around in it. You would say, well, we are trapped upon this physical earth. How are you trapped? Your physical body is present in it, but your consciousness has no imprisonment. You create your own imprisonment in your mind. You do it yourself. You create your own thoughts. You create your own decisions. Everything. So you literally make your life. You make every thought. And when you go back home to the spirit world, that will all be played back to you in an instant, but you will see every greater detail of it, every experience that you've ever had from birth until physical death. You will feel everyone else's emotions that you have come into contact with, that you have hurt or you have made happy, or they have hurt you or made you happy. You get to feel all of that tenfold. So just know that the way that you are with people, if you be positive with them, how you will feel when that is presented to you on the other side. You are not thrown into hell. You are human. You are here to make mistakes so that you may learn from them for your soul's progression. It teaches you about becoming empathic and about going within and loving and understanding oneself. That is a lot of what the journey is about, because it's about unconditional love. You come from love. You live in love. You go back to love. Only our love is unconditional. Your animal's love for you is unconditional. Your love for your children and your families is unconditional. But our love is tenfold of that. And if you get to experience it, your soul will light up. Your ego will have no matter, because all it will feel is unconditional love. There are no attachments to that. It is untainted. So, speaking about us on the other side, going away from that presence, you are always going to be present, actually. You're always going to be in the present moment, no matter if you are in the now. If you think about the future, even then you are going to be in the present moment. So it's whether or not you are going to enjoy that present moment. Just think about it. But don't overthink. Just think and take it in, piece by piece. So I was going to somehow come away from the subject of presence. When you come into our world, we are also a form of presence. We are present. We are one. We live in an existence that has much light and picturesque scenery, a little bit like what Elaine is painting sometimes. That everything is ethereal, it is an energy, rather than a physicality. So if you were to think of a place, it could be there for the moment that you needed it, and then it would instantly dissipate when you no longer needed it. But there is no need in spirit. There is no wanton or need. There is just the experience of seeing something, and then it dissipates. So you may forget about something. You have thought about something for that present moment, then you forget it. But when you have a profound experience from the spiritual world to your mind, to your body, you will never ever forget it. You could remember every single detail every time you recall each profound spiritual experience. Isn't that amazing? Yet on earth you forget something, but you do remember all of your profound experiences on earth. Profound experiences, whether they be earthly or spiritual, they can be remembered with greater detail. For instance, your childbirth in life, your first child, your second child, however many children that you're going to have, you will remember all of their birthdays, you will remember their birth. It's something that you cannot forget because it is so profound. It is more or less imprinted onto your mindset. So when you come into our world, everything is so beautiful and constantly profound. The love is indelible. It is so beautiful, unconditional. And you're feeling that constantly, so you are in constant bliss when you join the light. So you will never be rejected. You will just have to see whatever you have put others through. You are shown it. For instance, when I passed to the spirit world, I had to see every detail of my life. I had to see my childhood. I had to see my adulthood. I had to see all of the disagreements that I'd had with my father and all of the disliking that I had of him. So I was able to understand why he and I had behaved like that. And many of you will have that situation in your lifetimes where you don't get along with a family member. But you're all part of the same soul group, so you're coming here to teach somebody something. So much of the explanations that I will give and have given, Elaine has watched through other people's near-death experiences, but I have already previously explained them to her and to you people here. It is much of a similarity. In fact, it is the same, but just a different description of it, a different experience that soul has had, and so they will return to the earth and give it to others. Many of a similarity of experience, but some with greater detail. So I know that perhaps being flippant, I am going from one subject to another, but I am blending all of the subjects into one description. And your guide will usually do that. If you were going to talk about a subject upon the earth, you wouldn't necessarily blend them all like I do. You would do them in segregation. You would use them as a sort of a chapter. You would explain one point of view, then you would move on to the next point of view. But we sway it through here. It's a nice way of putting it. So yes, coming now to healing as well. When you go home to the spirit world, all of your animosity does not any longer exist, although it is shown to you, and you have a look at it and you feel the emotional side of it tenfold. All is looked at as unconditional love. There is no animosity, no love loss. So somebody that you didn't particularly like in life, you see them in a different view. You come to love them and understand why they behave the way that they did. Maybe it was to teach you something, or you teach they something. But you know the perfect reason for it. But in a logic state of mind, you wouldn't. You would see everything from an earthly point of view and say, well, I hate that person because they've ruined my life. But what sort of direction did they turn you in? Was it your decision? You turned away from them. That was your decision. It wasn't theirs. It was yours. It was their decision to behave badly. It was your decision to hate them. It wasn't your decision to forgive them and understand them, which we know that can be rather difficult in your physical world. For instance, if someone had committed terrible atrocities, absolutely terrible, they would want to go away in the spirit world and think about it. They would experience every single person's emotion that they had ever hurt or damaged or desecrated through murder. They would want the person to be felt. You see, all of the emotion that that particular person had in life, all of their fear, they would feel that tenfold. Now, can you imagine that? It is not a punishment. It is a way of teaching you to understand that every person feels emotionally, physically. And you don't see it from their point of view at the time. You just hurt them. Or you may maim them in life. You may have been a terrible, terrible person. So you would have to experience all of that pain in one go. Could you imagine how that would feel? Absolutely terrible. It would be like a tsunami of emotion that we would be experiencing non-stop for a while. But you wouldn't be thrown into hell for it. Those that remain in the lower realms choose to be there. They choose to go into that existence, but you work your way through each incarnation up through the realms of spirit into the total, utter light. So, yes, I do see that this will help you all in some way. Even if only a few of you have watched it, I'm sure others will watch it later on. Remember, all of this that I have explained to you, or try to absorb some of it, because your physical minds are so very crowded that I see. There are many thoughts whizzing round inside of them. So if you were in spirit now, you would be all over the place. In spirit, you learn to think one thought at a time. But you can be bilocating, which are several thoughts, to keep an eye on your loved ones on the physical earth if they remain there. So we do look to our descendants. We do come and see them. And of course, the descendants would have carried on our name, perhaps. So there you go. I will speak about more in the future. There are always going to be many subjects to cover. Some of them I will go back over again so that you absorb it all and learn to understand it. It changes your life, your perception of life. It changes the way that you perceive yourself and others to be. There's an easy explanation. And if you would want to know if we are evolving and learning in spirit, yes, we are. But we are not forced to, we choose to. We go to the halls of learning. And we will go and see our elders and ask them what is best presented to your earthly people. Who is going to be coming through in a way of evidence? All of that will be presented to us. We learn to communicate. That is what we are learning to do. We bring forth apples into your world. These are forms that are dematerialized and then rematerialized as a physicality into your world. There may be several things that are many, many years old. They may be crystals. But we are able to learn how to do that with physical mediums. Sometimes they will port from spirit directly into your world without the need of that, but it is on a very, very rare occasion. So know that we are capable of these things. There is only a veil that separates us, a little bit like a net curtain, but ethereal. So it has no physicality. You could put your hand through it a little bit like water. It is transparent. So we come through that veil to join you in your physical earth. We only stay here for a period of time because we understand that your existence is very busy. But we only need that short period of time to communicate with you. So when you experience that, out-of-body experience is a wonderful thing too. It can be sometimes a little daunting. You may feel your body vibrate before leaving it, and then you become somewhat of being in the astral again. Some people feel it, some people don't. They just feel their presence being somewhere else. A thought, perhaps, that becomes something of a lucidity, a little bit like dream state, but in meditative states or trance states. There are many states of mind, limitless. You've got to remember that your consciousness is limitless. There are no rules. You only live by earthly conditioning, and your rules upon the earth. They are sometimes somewhat frustrating, I gather. But the world has to run that way, otherwise it wouldn't work. But I am going to take my leave now, because I know that Elaine has other things to do. But I will tell you, we will present more of our will to her in her art, and to you. You will see it. There will be more of it. What we are showing her is our colourful world, but it cannot even begin to be presented in such clarification as what it is on the canvas or the frame, whatever she is painting it on. But that is our world. It is not having any rule attached to it. It's freedom. We're showing you our world, freedom. There are no rules. Because there are no rules with creation or self-expression, it is much of a similarity to how our world runs. Limitlessness, freedom, unconditional love. So when you get those, you will know that a little piece of our world is sitting in your home. I must tell you about that because that is what it is. No matter how it is presented, it is all an ever-old thought, isn't it? You are connecting to our world and we are showing you a little piece of it. That is just a little strike of what is there. That is nothing compared to what you will see when you come here. So much like you are here, you are tempted by negative sometimes, and you are also curious about positive. Be tempted by the positive emotion. Be tempted by the light. Because it is far greater and far more beautiful than you could ever imagine. God bless you all. Thank you, everyone. It's lovely. I always do the best that I can to allow Jonathan to speak. So I thank you all for joining me. And I do believe in your spirit guides because they're loving you so much and they just want to help us here on this earth, to show us what is there with them and how we can better our lives and believe in ourselves. We all know that there is a greater power than us and that we're all part of it. None of us are perfect. Well, I guess that's done purposely so we learn things. So thank you for all your support
Not so much support of me, but support of spirit and what is real. It took me years to trust it, years to believe. But yes, it takes the human mind time. And it will always be questionable and doubt things, but the more you let go, it's just... I find that if I feel stressed before I go into the trance, it takes me longer to relax. So if you try and relax beforehand, just take deep breaths and calm yourself and just relax. You'll be all right. Okay? Well, I hope you enjoy your other meetings this morning. I'm sure they have lovely things to present to you, and I wish them luck. You all got to come together and help one another. There's nothing like it. So I don't want it to be about a competition or anything else. We're all the same, really. Can't waste our lives being like that. Good luck, everyone. And enjoy everything that comes on here this morning. And thanks to Pamela Carter for having me on. Hello, Ray. Long time no see. Hope you're keeping well. So if the next one wanted to start when they're ready, enjoy. Take care, everyone. See you soon.